Hello, I am Professor Sims, and this is a video demonstrating how to set up the Pondwater specimen, which we'll be using in the online micro lab course. You do want to set up the Pondwater specimen just as soon as you get your kit, and that's because this has to be set up at least a week. 2 weeks would be better, but at least a week before you need to use it. You'll be using the Pondwater specimen for executing the Lab 3 procedure, and what you'll need to do is there is a lyophilized powder that's labeled Pondwater in your kit. You're going to need to add that powder to sterilized water in a falcon tube and allow that to incubate for at least 1 and up to 2 weeks before you use it. In order to obtain sterilized water, all you have to do is boil tap water. You'll want to bring your water to a rolling boil, and that's what this looks like here. And that needs to be boiling at that rate for about 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes. Then you turn the heat off and you will allow it to cool to room temperature, but you want it to be covered because you don't want any contamination to get in there while it's cooling. And then you can transfer it just by pouring it, or you can also transfer using one of those plastic transfer pipettes that is in your kit. Next, you're going to want to locate one of the 15 milliliter falcon tubes that's in your kit, and then you're going to want to label it, labeling it Pondwater or PW for Pondwater. Once you have your tube labeled, you're going to want to open it and see I've already put some sterilized water in the tube. You want to be careful when you put the lid down that you're putting it like this, instead of putting it where the inside part of the lid is touching the counter. You don't want it to do that, so you're going to put it facing up, just like you see here. Now, as far as getting the Pondwater out of the little baggie that's in your kit, can be tricky, so I'm going to show you a couple of different things that we tried so you can see what that looks like. You see, it's kind of hard to get it to just pour out of the top like that, especially one-handed. So that wasn't working out so good. So then we take and put the tube in a cup to stand it up, and then you try to pour it in that way. And see, it's still kind of hard to get it out of there. Some of it came out, some of it didn't. So then what we tried next that actually worked was to just take some scissors and cut one of the bottom corners off. And you see, it's much easier to get it in that way. And it's okay if some of it doesn't make it into the tube, that's fine. And then once you have the Pondwater in the tube, you want to put the lid back on there. And you're screwing it on so it's still loose. You want that lid to still be loose while it's incubating so that the oxygen can get in there. So you have your tube with your Pondwater and your sterile water in it, and the cap is loose and it's standing up in the cup, and you just allow that to incubate at room temperature away from food for 1 to 2 weeks. And then after it's finished incubating, you're going to use that Pondwater specimen to create 2 slides in your Lab 3 procedure. It's going to be Lab 3 Experiment 3, you'll see it. And then you're going to use the Foldscope to view those specimens, and you'll record your observations and use them to answer all of the questions in your lab report 2 template. Also, you're going to make sure to disinfect your Pondwater specimen before you throw it in the trash. So that is how you set up the Pondwater specimen. Thank you guys for watching. Leave your questions for me in the comments below.